Guys, it's Donnella Shuler, also known as Nelly Nails. Today we're going to talk about what it's like to live in the life of a felon. Speaking from experience, I know that there's a huge misconception about being a felon. I had just graduated high school when I was arrested in the middle of the night and charged with breach of trust. I was young, I was 19 years old, and here I was going to jail in the middle of the night being charged with a felony. During that time, they thought that I was stealing money, but I never stole any money. I had to prove that I was only giving away food, which is still a crime. I gave away a lot of food. I was charging it under my employee meal all day, every day. I thought I was doing a kind act, but I was still doing an illegal act by stopping the business from making money. So either way, I still had to serve my time. I did 5 years probation, although I was facing 3 years in prison because I was able to prove that I did not steal any money. I still had to serve my time on probation for what I did. When I first heard that I was being charged with a felony, instantly I thought that life would be over with. I spent 3 years going back and forth to court trying to fight the case, and in the end I ended up pleading guilty, and I ended up doing 5 years of probation. And during that time, that's a total of 8 years, I was struggling to find a job. I couldn't find a job. I couldn't get an apartment. I couldn't get anything. They really stop you from having your own. So I was getting stuff in people's name. I was just really going through it. And also I was just struggling to find a job that I was going to be able to survive with, to live out here in this world. They know your story. They still kind of iffy about it. So what do you want to do? So I was still taking a risk at still fighting it and letting the jury decide what they wanted to do with me. So in the end, I pled guilty to my story, but not their story. And I know the judge really felt in his heart that I was telling the truth. So that's why I ended up pleading guilty, because the judge was feeling very nice that day, and I could see it in his eyes that he wasn't going to send me to prison. And I walked out of there still free. I was just happy that I didn't walk into the back with cuffs on, knowing that I wasn't going to see my family for 3 years. Whether I had served 3 years in prison or 5 years on probation, at the end of the day, I'm a felon on paper. Before I go any deeper into this discussion, I have to bring alongside my guy, Matty Ice, because he can speak from experience with this situation about living the life of a felon.
Show me some love.
Matty Ice. What it do, man? How you doing?
Man, I'm here. Blessed. You know, me and Donnella, we went to school together. Actually, we was really, good friends through school. Pretty much, all of high school. But we really got really close after school. Around like 2015-ish, 14, somewhere around there. We've been best friends ever since. You know what I'm saying? It ain't a day that don't go by that, that we ain't in touch. And it's because we're so relatable. We went through so many different things, but we kind of walk the same path, So that's why we can definitely relate on a lot of levels. There's a lot of stories that she got that are very similar to mine, and vice versa. Back in 2009, I was 19 going on 20, just graduated high school, kind of going through that stage where, I tried college, it wasn't for me. I didn't know what was next, Too much free time on my hands. So, I got into some trouble, started doing some things I wasn't supposed to, got into some trouble. And then, had to go to court, had to deal with my situation. I got locked up at the beginning of the year. That was January 2009. I went to court in July. And I got sentenced to what's called a YOA, a Youth Offender Act. Pretty much they call it baby life. So pretty much I just go through like this program. I was locked up in prison for a couple months, and then when I got out, pretty much like 7 years of probation. So it's different. It does adjust your lifestyle. There's a lot of different things and obstacles that do come your way being a felon. It's not easy, but you just got to keep pushing. But it's definitely not easy. But yeah, we both have similar situations with that as far as being a felon, and that's why we're here. We're gonna definitely chop it up about it. Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, the first thing you have to do is mental. The first thing is you have to don't let that define who you are. that is step number one. The minute that you say, okay, I made a mistake, because there's a lot of people, honestly, who've done things that they should have got, in trouble for, that they just didn't get caught. You being a felon, you just got caught with your situation, but you can't let that break you. So the first thing I would say is mentally, don't live the life of a felon. Just because that is attached to your name, that's not you. If that's not you, you know what I'm saying, then, that's the first thing, is getting in your mind that, hey, I'm not going to let this make me. I'm not going to let this be who I am. That's the first piece of advice I would get. And the second piece of advice is just, take it day by day, step by step. You can't conquer the world. You can't get everything that you lost back in one day. So just kind of take it step by step, get on the right track. You probably hear more no's than yeses, but once you hear that yes, it's definitely going to be worth it and it's rewarding. So just keep pushing through every single aspect. Just don't let it make you. That's my biggest thing. Don't let it make you.
First thing first, I couldn't find a job. I was applying for jobs that I had experience in, but not remembering that job required for you not to have a felony or a misdemeanor. So I was really struggling, and at some point I had to really understand that I can't apply for a job just gotta know how to do it. I gotta apply for the job that's hiring someone like me, someone that's going to take a felon, somebody with a felony.
Yeah.
So that was my hardest thing when I first got charged with a felony.
That is, honestly, that's the most difficult thing, because your natural reaction is, we're humans, we got to survive. So when you get out of that situation, the first thing is, all right, let me find a job, let me, do what I can do to get back on my feet. Definitely. I was in the same boat too, applying here, applying there, applying everywhere. Like you said, a lot of jobs required you not to have a background,
Right.
But definitely, I think the thing is, you got to understand you're going to hear no. I think once you understand that, you don't really, your fall isn't as deep. You know what I'm saying? It's because you pretty much already have this mindset of, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. You got to understand you are a felon. That's just that with that there comes obstacles. So once you understand that, hey, I'm trying my best, but you just got to understand you're not going to be accepted by everybody.
Right.
That's just right. What it is. But that doesn't mean stop there. Like you said, I was in the same boat. I think I filled out, I count on probably two hands how many applications I filled out before I finally heard the first yes. But once I did, though, that definitely lifted my spirits a lot. And that gave me some hope to let me know that, this felony isn't me. You know what I'm saying? That there is somebody that, is willing to overlook a certain situation and not judge who you are as a person off of, a situation or a mistake that you made in life.
Right. I remember I thought I got the job at Walmart. And I went through the first interview and it was time for the second interview.
Yeah.
Not even 2 minutes into the second interview, they were like, hey, HR just sent us an email. We're not going to be able to hire you. And I was like, dang.
Yeah.
That really had crushed me. And then the second job I got with my record was Party City. And I was completely honest with them. They gave me the job. And during that time, that's when one of my friends, Matavia Downer, she asked me would I like to go to hair school. Not because I had a record, but just because I knew how to cut hair. I was interested in it, so I went.
Yeah.
And that's when in school I was like, you know what? I might not have to look for another job if I can get through school.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did that. I ain't never looked back. So it's kind of like most people that have a record, they're forced to go be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I wasn't forced. I just realized I had a skill and I used it.
Yeah.
I took advantage of it and I took it and ran with it. So I never had to worry about asking someone, can I work for them again?
Yeah, yeah. And that's you really find out who you are in a hard time like that.
You do.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the things. You find out who you are. You find out when your back is against the wall, it's only two things going to happen. Either you're going to lay down or you're going to keep pushing. So I definitely understand where you're coming from. Like I said, just it was rough. It was rough. My first job was actually Panera Bread. And I was there for a couple of years, actually. I was with Panera maybe 4 or 5 years. I even worked my way up. So, and it was one of those situations too where, I was honest. I was up front, because one thing One thing I knew I wasn't going to do when I came home with that attached to me, I wasn't going to lie about it. Because the truth will always come out. Right. So they're going to find out regardless. So I definitely said I'm not going to lie about it. And a lot of jobs, I was up front. And, you know, they just told me, nah, that's just... And I understand it because as a corporation, it's your house, your rules. Right. You know what I'm saying? If that's just something that's just a no for you, you don't want to take that chance, then I understand. But, yeah, definitely. I remember Panera was my first job. And when I finally got that yes, that right there, I think that small little moment right there let me know that, hey, I can still do what I want. You know, right. I can still do what I want. I can't let this thing define me. I can still do what I want.
Right. So. I think, and it shouldn't be like this, but I will say this. Having something on your background puts a different type of hustle in you. Yeah. You hustle on a level like no other. And it's most people turn to the streets and they want to sell drugs, they want to do this and that. And most of them get their first felony from being in the streets. Mm-hmm. And now you really got to hustle to stay above water. But getting something on your background, that hustle that it brings is, I can't go back there. Yeah. I can't go back to jail. I can't go back to prison. I'm going to show them. Mm-hmm. It puts that in you. You can go to that stage where they showing you. Yeah. They breaking you down. And you go through those moments where you think you're not going to get up out of it. Mm-hmm. You think you're not going to come up out of it. You don't see no light. But once you keep moving and keep pumping, and all you need is a little bit of light. Yeah. Man, once you start seeing that light at the end of the tunnel.
And that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause once you get the hang of hustling. Yeah. Nobody can tell you nothing. Yeah. Nobody can tell you nothing.
I'm telling you.
Like now, I feel like now, you don't know I have one unless I tell you.
Yeah, I get that response a lot. Like, I can't believe, because I'm not ashamed to tell my story. I'm not one to go around and parade it, but I definitely, you know, share it. And just to show that, you know, it was a learning experience. You know, when you're young, you're going to do some things. But, right. You know, yeah, that's one of the responses I get all the time. Oh, I would have never known.
Right, because some people, they get something and now they want to live in it. They want to live. Mm-hmm. They want to be that. Yeah. But I'm not that. I was young when I made that mistake. And I'm here to show you to this day, from that day to this day, hey, that wasn't me. Yeah. And today, it's still ain't me. Unless I tell you, or unless, you know, you ask me, do I want to take a visit to the White House? I'm going to tell you no for two reasons. One, I don't want to see Trump, you know, at the time. Yeah. Second, I can't. Yeah. I can't if I wanted to. That's the only time I'm reminded that I have a felony. Or, of course, when I'm trying to get an apartment. Yeah. And they run in your background and they see felony and they don't want you living in a complex because you got a felony. That's one of the things that mess you up. But it puts a hustle in you because now, okay, I don't want an apartment anyway. I want to live in a house. Yeah, yeah. Let me ask you this. So with the situation that we've been through, you know, everything, having that felony, what was the first thing on your checklist? You know, when you got your situation, when the judge said this is what it is, you going through your probation, what was the first thing on your checklist to say, okay, this is probably going to be difficult with this situation, but now I'm determined to do it. What was the first thing on your checklist? You mean from the day I walked out of court knowing I had a felony? Like, yeah, what knowing that you was a felon, knowing that, okay, I'm young, I still want to do this, I want to do that, but having this felony now, I might have to alter this and move it this way because I got this following me now. I was still young, so I think I was still thinking too far ahead. Mm-hmm. I was still counting down the years of me getting off probation, how old I was going to be. Oh, my God. I did the same thing. I'm not going to be able to really start living until I get off. Mm-hmm. But instantly, I wanted a job. And I wanted a job that was going to have me set for life. But life didn't work like that at the time. Yeah. I wasn't realizing that, no, you need something that's going to just help you out right now. Mm-hmm. So that's why it goes back to when I say I was applying for jobs that fitted my skill, but didn't fit my background. Yeah. So that was only my issue, is accepting the felony. Yeah. And thinking like, oh well, I got to find something and get comfortable now, because that's how I'm living the rest of my life. Mm-hmm. And I was completely wrong. Yeah, yeah. I think my biggest thing was, I think just speaking from the mental standpoint of it. When I got to my situation, it hurt a lot of people.
It did. Like a lot of people just didn't expect, oh, you know, Matt, he's this kid, he's that kid. You know, I just didn't expect him to, you know, to do anything like that. So I think the first thing I had on my mind was to show the people that I hurt and, you know, the people that it affected while I was gone that, hey, I learned my lesson. That's not me. Like I said, and I heard it from so many people, like, you know, you can't let it define you. And my mom, you know, she told me to this day, she's like, you know, Matt, don't let that break you, because at the end of the day, everybody's probably done something that they should be in jail for. You just so happen to get caught.
Right.
But, you know, just learn your lesson. So I think that was my first thing, was just to show people that, hey, I'm not that. Because it did. It hurt a lot of people. A lot of people were in shock. You know what I'm saying? I got letters from a lot of people that was just like, you know, I'm disappointed in you, but I still love you. You know, it's definitely going to be a rough time for you, but just know we here with you every step of the way. So just having that support, you know.
I know that I can say this. Now, we've been friends since I was in 11th, you was in 10th grade.
Yeah. High
now,
school.
we didn't hang out as much. We didn't become close to just, you know, what, 5-6 years ago, being real tight like
really,
that.
really close.
So I think one day, somebody just randomly brought up your name and they was like, you know, because Matt about to get out. And I said, get out of where? And then they said, prison. I was like, what the heck did he do?
Yeah.
And it was more like laughable because I'm like, Matthew Walker?
Yeah.
Like, what the heck he did?
Yeah.
So that was shocking.
Yeah.
That was shocking. And when you got out, I still couldn't believe it. But wow, when you did your time, nobody knew. I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know, just me thinking I know everybody, y'all kept that on the low.
Yeah.
And now I was shocked though. But just to see where you come from, see where you at now, you did that.
Well, you know, with the whole felony thing, man, the thing about it is you just got to realize your life is altered. It's altered forever. It is. You're just not going to have access to certain things that other people have. But that doesn't mean stop living.
Right.
And that's what I want everybody to know. That doesn't mean stop living. That doesn't mean you move differently. No, you're still a human. You're still in, you know, you still got a life to live. You got a legacy to leave behind. So, you know, you can definitely take that situation and use it as a stepping stone. Like me, honestly, I use mine, and I've had talks because my kids are getting a little bit older now. You know, my boys, they're coming up on middle school in a little bit. I use my situation as, hey, yeah, daddy did this, but at the same time, if I would have made a different decision, you know, my life wouldn't be what it is. Right. But I don't take back what happened, because I don't think I would be who I am now, but you know, if that didn't happen. But I try to use my situation as a tool to share.
Right.
A tool to share. And it's very important, because one decision can change your life.
Yeah, forever.
One decision can change your life forever.
Forever, because even though I'm in a way better place now, it's still there.
Yeah, it's still there.
It's still there.
You pull it up.
We'll talk about it right now. But it is a lesson learned. I tell everybody now, hey, if it's not yours, don't touch it.
Yep.
Don't touch it, because they're going to make an example out of you.
Yep.
And you may deserve it.
Yep.
You deserve it.
Yep.
You know, if you do something that you have no business doing, especially with somebody else's business. You know, such as what I did. So I definitely learned from that. But you definitely can overcome it. You work, you save money. Yeah. And just being in my situation, I would always advise anybody, start a business. Yeah. Start a business, because at the end of the day, you won't have to answer to nobody.
It makes the path so much easier.
Makes it so much easier if you have multiple businesses, and that way, the only person that's held accountable
is you. Yep.
I want to thank you guys for tuning in on this sensitive discussion with Matty Ice and myself. If you loved it, I hope that you stay tuned, because we have way more videos on the way. Hold on, we gotta go to the club right quick. I'm gonna go to the club.